Good morning, Beeville. This is Cindy Clark from PAC-B TV, and I'm here this morning with Paul Kulba. And Paul, thank you, Paul, for coming in this morning, by the way. Paul is going to tell us about his journey with a friend of his from Memphis, New York. He started being friends with him later on in teens. His friend ultimately went to the Vietnam War and sadly did not return. So Paul wants to show what his friend Lorenzo was all about and take us through his journey as to how we're going to honor his friend and veteran. Paul, thank you again. Now, this has been a long journey for you, getting to where we're at now. And now your friend was Lorenzo Demperio Ione.
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you just tell us, you start at the beginning, how you met him and his background a little bit so people can understand, because I know a lot of the areas that you're going to discuss are familiar to a lot of people in this area. So just take it away and tell me how this all started, okay?
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much for doing this interview with me. My name is Paul Kulba. Paul, biblical, means great knowledge. Kulba is little. So let's start with that and just remember the little. How I actually met Lorenzo, I can't remember. It was back in 1966 that the relationship started. His step-parents, Harry and Maria Demperio, owned the Jack Reeves Hotel. And I always thought Lorenzo was adopted, but I did come to find out, no, he wasn't adopted, and let's just say he was a foster child. He came to this country from Verona, Italy, when he was 9 years old, through the Catholic Charities. His father was killed in World War II, and his mother, being a widower with 6 children, the Catholic Charities talked her into letting a child go and come back to this country, to America, so they can get better education and lifestyle. Consequently, he come over here to this country at 9. 2 days after his mother signed the release form, she wanted him back, but it was too late. She couldn't get him back. Lorenzo come here and he lived his childhood life going to Jordan Albert School. Then he went to...
Didn't he go to Auburn, you said?
Auburn, Mount...
Carmel?
Yes,
okay.
Mount Carmel.
Okay.
You remember better than I am.
Well.
And he went to school there, and he graduated from there in 1965. In 1967 is when he joined the Marines. Sometime during that period of time before he joined the Marines, he used to borrow my car. He only had the money that he earned in tips from the Jack Reeves Hotel being a bartender. So he would borrow my car and take different ladies out to get to know him and on dates. And Joy Carbonaro, who used to be his childhood friend, moved to Cortland, and Lorenzo thought a lot of her, and she thought a lot of him also.
Was Joy from this area as well?
Was
she from Memphis or?
She's from Memphis.
Okay.
Her father died, and then they moved to Cortland.
Okay.
And that period of time, her and Lorenzo went to school together, and they became good friends, and Joy was actually in love with him as a brother and sister.
Okay.
Joy had followed through, and in 2005 got a hold somehow of a TV station in Italy, and the TV station was trying to do recognition for Lorenzo with his brothers and sisters because they made a promise to his mother that they would find Lorenzo someday. So they got together in 2005. Some of them come here from Italy, and they interviewed with Joy. They showed pictures of the Reef Hotel and Lorenzo's childhood pictures. Just that friendship developed, and Lorenzo thought a lot of Joy's mother because he used to drive to Cortland with my car and take him out to lunch or dinner. And Joy could, from me meeting with Joy, she did remember a friend loaning him his car. So
It was always your car, though. He was always driving your car.
He was always my car. So that's how this started. And then Lorenzo's last meal was his mother Marie fixed him and I above the restaurant. And I don't even remember what the meal was.
This was before he went into the service?
The day before he left.
Okay.
What
year was that?
1967.
Okay.
In December, I believe December 12th, 1967.
Okay. Okay.
We had our last meal together. The next day, I was working at Rayfield's restaurant at the time. He come in to see me to say goodbye again, and in his dress blues. And anytime.
Do you have a picture of him?
Yes, I do. This is a picture I got from the virtual wall, but through Industrial Color Labs, I had a picture of him put in uniform, and they did this from that picture. So he was in uniform when he come to see me. We chatted for a little bit, and his last words to me, he says, "I won't be home." And I said, "Lorenzo, don't talk that way." So that's what I can remember about our meeting. We went to the funeral, and years go by, and you just kind of put it behind you. But then the Vietnam Wall come out, and I could never find his name on the wall. And then through research, maybe 8 years ago, I found his name by putting a virtual wall onto the computer and trying all different aspects. Jordan High School, Cato Meridian High School, West Genesee, Baldwinsville. I could never come up with a high school because I didn't know he went to Mount Carmel. Then finally I typed in Memphis, New York, and then boom, the name come up. Lorenzo Joseph Ione. No Demperio mentioned. I mean, it goes by his given name when he entered the service. So that's why I had so much difficulty finding his name. And I contacted several different representatives from her, Anne Marie Burkle, Dan McVeigh, John Katko. Finally, with Brandon Williams, we got together with his representative, Kelly, and Kelly worked diligently on this and got special exemptions so that I could get and receive the medals of Lorenzo. And I felt in a tribute to Lorenzo, it ought to be presented to me at the Reef Hotel because that was his home and that's where he grew up. Through this research, last September, I did go to the Vietnam Wall, and I did get a rubbing of his name from the wall and proceeded there. And then just recently, 2 weeks ago, from talking with Joy, I found that his classmates gave him this memorial bench in Auburn, New York.
This is from the Mount Carmel High School in Auburn. Okay.
High School in Auburn, New York. This bench is dedicated to him. I didn't know it was there even until I went and found it and searched it out. So representatives, hopefully from Mark Carmel, from his high school, will be at the Reef when I'm presented the medals.
Now, what year did he die in Vietnam?
1968.
1968.
January 27th, 1968.
Okay. So then, like you say, people just kind of went and they lived their lives and whatever. What was the main reason that you got started on this? Just because you'd heard from certain people, or, how did you get started on this journey to show tribute to him?
Well, it really started with my brother. When my brother passed away, I didn't realize he received the Bronze Star and several medals, from the Vietnam War. And I knew I'd lost Lorenzo too. And I put together a thing for my brother because I was able to get everything. And I said, boy, I'm going to do something for Lorenzo. So that's how it started.
Okay.
But it's just been a long, slow, tedious process.
Do you have a picture of Lorenzo with his platoon or
Military.
military, whatever they?
Yeah, military guys. This is Lorenzo here in Nam. I was able to find the picture of him.
For the obituary?
No.
Or the picture of his monument?
A picture of his monument, found the gravesite at Assumption Cemetery, and went there. And this is a list of the medals that
It's amazing.
received while he was in Nam, and his short term in the military. He joined the military in July of 1967.
The Marines,
The
right?
Marines,
Okay.
yes.
Now, these medals, are they the ones that are going to be presented at the Reef by?
Yes.
Okay,
By Congressman Williams.
okay. All right, so then you said you're making a shadow box?
Yes.
To put all these medals in for him?
Yes. Jay from the Reef, Jay Meyer, we first talked about this about a year and a half ago. He suggested maybe him and I would build the shadow box and put it up there. And then after I found out I was going to receive the medals, he said there's a construction place down on the corner of Route 31 and Old Route 31.
Okay.
Going towards Jordan. So I went there and visited him. It's SCW Construction. Steve Wahlberg is the owner. So I went and visited with Steve and told him what I was looking to do and wanted to do. And he said yes, he would build it, and asked if I would buy the background for the shadow box and also the glass, because I wanted tempered glass. Just that it's going to be in a public place and somebody doesn't put their hand through it and get injured. And then he told me, he says, yes, he says, I will build it for you and I'll donate it. So he's donating the shadow box and he's building it out of mahogany
Oh,
for
that'd
me.
be nice.
So it should be a nice presentation.
So he's working on that now, so that'll be ready for the September presentation.
Hopefully, if it isn't, I'll have the medals, and then I'm gonna have to get them together and put Lorenzo's picture in it, and a brief write-up of kind of what he did and his life. I mean, there's an inscription on his bench in Auburn that I really like, and it's Lorenzo Joseph, parentheses, Demperio, Ione, and it says, Lorenzo gave his life for his adopted country. And that's the inscription on the stone. And I thought very appropriate.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. So here we are today, and Paul, I thank you so much for coming in and letting us know. This is such a heartwarming story, and I certainly give you a lot of credit for your diligence and your patience and the time. I just look at your paperwork, and you've spent hours and hours getting to where you are today. And I thank you so much. I thank you for remembering, one of our own here in his adopted country, which is fabulous. And, I look forward to seeing the presentation at the Reef, because that is just the final honor to your friend and our veteran, our local veteran here. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. Now, the presentation at the Reef, can anybody attend, or?
Yes, it's open to the public. The
Okay.
Reef is a public place. As far as any other publicity or anything, I know of none. So
Okay, well.
anybody is welcome to come.
Well, anybody can come. It's on September 7th at the Reef in Memphis, New York at 4 p.m. It's to honor Lorenzo Demperio Ione. And I get chills thinking about it. But thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for what you've done for our friend and fallen hero. Okay? Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. But it's the former Jack Reefs, now it's the Reef.
The reef. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.